Mr. Riel, welcome to the CBC studios. We're so happy to have you here today and glad to see that you've been completely resurrected. I know my producer, Carrie Hamilton, is keeping us under the gun here for time, so I'm going to try to make this as short and as succinct as possible. So, can you tell me, how does it feel to be resurrected from the dead?
Pretty good, to be honest. You know, there were concerns coming back into this time, but people have been friendly. I've been reading up and I feel up to date, so I'm just happy to be here right now.
Well, that's great, Mr. Riel. We're really glad to hear that you've adjusted well and you've set up a little house beside the Red River and you are back on your feet again. So I just wanted to ask you about the opposition towards joining Canada in the 1870s. What specifically about it did you feel opposed to?
It wasn't that I was opposed to the idea, it's just the fact that Canada should have asked for permission before coming in and building the railway. There was no such process. Surveyors simply arrived and attempted to take the land immediately without any form of consultation. And that was the core of the problem.
Very understandable, Mr. Riel. Yeah, absolutely. You wanted a seat at the table and you wanted to be invited as an equal. So let's turn the conversation back to you. What is it about you that made you the one to lead this rebellion?
It was partially luck, but also there was the fact that I had studied law in Montreal. And that proved to be extremely useful when it came to negotiations with the government following our first, how should we call it, encounters with Canadian surveyors from the East Coast.
I see. Well, that makes a lot of sense that you did have a number of unique qualities that would have qualified you to lead this rebellion. So during your trial, you were given the option of perhaps choosing to plead insanity, and there are people that speculate that this might have spared you the noose. Why did you choose not to plead insanity?
Okay, let's assume that I did state that I was insane throughout the entire process. Why do you think that would have been a bad idea? Think about it for a second. If I, as the leader of a social movement, had gone up and stated that I was insane throughout the entire process, any form of protest going forward by the people of the Plains and Red River would never be taken seriously.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you very much for being here in studio today, live on CBC, Mr. Riel, and I will wish you greatest luck in your future endeavors, and take care.
Thank you very much for having me today.